The National Assembly has passed the Harmonized Electoral Act Amendment Bill and approved the electronic transmission of results and direct primaries for political parties. The approval follows the harmonization of differences in the earlier versions separately passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives. In the Conference Committee report, both chambers empowered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on how to transmit election results, either electronically or manually. Now, both chambers also approved that all political parties must use the direct primary mode in picking candidates, despite objection by many political parties. A clean copy of the bill is expected to be produced and sent to the President for assent.
Well, and joining us to take a look at the new provisions of the Electoral Act is the chairman of the Senate Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission, Senator Kabiru Gaya. Glad to have you in our studios, Senator.
Thank you, and good evening, Nigerians. Glad to be here with Arise TV.
So, we can now say that starting with the 2023 general election scheduled for February and March, and even for the Ekiti and Osun state election, that INEC can go on and transmit electronically.
Yeah, from the bill that has just been passed, it gave INEC the powers, but we really have to get the President's assent. As soon as the President signs, it comes into law, all the provisions in the Electoral Act will have to now be implemented during the process of the elections. First of all, you remember you just talked about the transmission of result, which was really a controversial issue. The Senate initially did not agree with the transmission of the result, but when we came after so many interviews, so many views from Nigerians, and so many views also from people outside the National Assembly, from our constituencies, we really had to make a move by the Senate to make an amendment to go with the wishes of the people. That is democracy, because we are representatives of the people. Anytime we pass something and people said, no, this is exactly what they want, we should go by the wishes of the people. And for what we did, Nigerians are happy with at least the electronic voting, electronic transmission. And then we came up with another thing, that we want the democracy to go down to the grassroots. We want people who are party members to participate in nominating their own candidate, which means you don't have to have Alpha or the big people at the top to decide who a candidate might be. Some people imported candidates from even outside the country and brought them to Nigeria, make them governors. At the end of the day, they had quarrels. So we want to have people who are really at the grassroots, those who really have the support of the common man. And by so doing, it will reduce this issue of money politicking. And unfortunately, if somebody comes in with a lot of money and he becomes a candidate and wins an election, it means that person has invested money into politics. And as soon as he do that, as soon as he becomes, by any accident, he becomes the governor or whatever, it means he will recover his money. So he spent $1 billion naira, he will go for $1 billion. And the only way he will recover his money is by becoming so corrupt.
Okay, that's the point.
We would like to remove the issue of corruption in this country. We would like to reduce it as much as possible.
Definitely very, very fundamental. But this has not gone on too well for the Progressive Governors Forum. And the minority leader in the House actually raised objections, saying that the consideration of the report was, did not give opportunity to the House to actually review that report. And the Progressive Governors Forum are saying it will put INEC under a lot of pressure.
No, first of all, in the Senate, any decision taken by the Senate itself, you don't expect to have 100% vote of all the members. There are some issues you could remember during the Electoral Commission bill when we passed it. There was the issue we raised in our committee, but when we went to the floor of the Senate, it was changed. And we cannot come out and say we did not agree with that, because once there is a decision taken at the Senate or in the House of Representatives, once the majority vote, you have to go along with the majority. So the decision in the Senate is that we all agree that is how we wanted it. And we are all players in politics. We have been in politics for many years, and we've gone through elections, and we know the problems during elections and what it causes us during the election, primaries, or even general election. So look at the ways which we can come out of that problems.
Yeah, but this clause 87, I do get that point. This clause 87 that insists on direct primaries, is it not likely to bring us back to a situation where there will be calls for another amendment to this bill?
No, I don't believe so, unless we, the Nigerians, or we, the players in politics, did not want it to work. I was a product of direct primaries in 1991 when I contested for governor of Kano State. We went through direct primaries. Well, virtually, I have 484 wards in Kano, and there was 484 elections taking place that same day in various locations. So unless you are a popular candidate, you cannot be able to get the benefit of that, what do you call it, direct primaries. So I was a benefit. And then when I won the primaries, most of the people, or almost all the people that voted me to become a candidate, now became our campaign officers or directors, because they wanted to protect their mandate. They have voted me out and they voted me in, so they want to also campaign to make sure that I come back or I win as a governor, and I became one. So this direct primaries is making sure that if you perform at the grassroots, at your ward level, definitely your people will support you. And you don't have to use much money to buy votes. But when you have delegates, you have maybe about 2,000 people to vote for a governorship election, candidate for a governorship election. It means you can be able to put as much money, and they only pick up the highest bidder. And that highest bidder may not be the best candidate for the party, but because he had the funds to use, and he gave out money.
He had enough war chest,
and he was able to get the ticket. So all we are trying to do is make sure that at least we have free, fair, credible primaries, and then also it will lead to free, fair, and credible elections.
All right. What do you say to one or two governors who are saying that because you are now in a privileged position, I don't mean just you, I mean the senators and the House of Reps are now in a privileged position, so they make laws that will favor them? And then you mentioned the president, in the event that he refuses to give his assent to the bill, what happens? What next?
Well, first of all, let me answer, we are not doing this favor ourselves. We are in the system. I'm a former governor, so I know what it takes. But you're not issue of favoring yourself. But most people, I remember during the congresses, some members are not happy with the way Congress was conducted, because Congress names were just given of people anyhow. Delegates were written like that anyhow. So you find that when you are out of the list of the delegates, or out of reach to those delegates, it means you are already out of the system. And what we need, you find that some of our members of the House of Reps and senators have performed tremendously well in their constituencies. They provided water, boreholes, schools. They touch the lives of the people in their constituency, and the people love them. So, but now if you don't have money to pay on the issue of the indirect primaries, which will pay in delegate, it means you are out. But you can win election even without spending so much if you have done projects in your constituency.
Okay, we've talked a lot about this.
To the bill.
Well, I do not believe, because this bill is for the president, is the president's bill.
Okay, great.
And I don't think the president will refuse to sign this bill, because the president wants direct contact. He said, take politics, take democracy to the grassroots. He said this, take the democracy to the grassroots. And that's what we did. So we're just answering the president's question.
All right, great. Now there are 21 clauses to this bill. I mean, it's not just the issue of direct primaries or even e-transmission. Which ones would you say are the low-hanging fruits that need to be implemented as soon as the president gives his assent? How soon are you even expecting that assent?
Well, we expect as soon as the National Assembly package the bill, they will send it to the president, and I believe very soon, before the end of the year.
What are the key priorities apart from direct primaries?
The major issue apart from this direct primary, we talk of electronic voting. We also talk about the party itself, that they must submit the name of candidates 6 months before the general election. In such case, because if there are litigations after the primaries, then it can easily be resolved within that 6 months. You find that, for example, the problem we have in Imo State, we have 2 candidates of APC went to vote or converse for vote for a position of a senator, and because the court has not resolved who is the person, those people all campaign for that seat, and they won the election. But now is the court now going to determine who is the rightful candidate or person for that position. for APC had won the election in that location. So what we are saying, let's avoid that. Let's make a candidate wins 6 months before the time, and all those litigations can be over. And I think that's another issue. The other one, we talk of punishment if parties, for example, political parties sometimes make mistake, or deliberately or not deliberately submit any candidate who is not qualified. And then when you have that candidate, you just end up having problems maybe during elections also. Or in the event the name of the candidate or logo of that party got missing during the printing by INEC. All these problems, we thought about it and we talk of solutions, and we didn't just pass the bill like that anyhow. We went through a long process. First of all, when the bill was committed to our committee, that is the INEC committee in the Senate, we called for a retreat. We traveled to Lagos for 2-3 days. We invited all the stakeholders, including the Attorney General's office and everybody concerned in this issue, to discuss the Electoral Act. And we did. After that, we did public hearing. We get views from many Nigerians. Some were even saying that we should not hold election on Saturday. We should hold election on another day, on another, because they go to the praying grounds or worshiping area on Saturdays. I say, what, some people go to worshiping ground on Friday and some on Sunday. So there are views, and there are also issues of age limit for those voting, 18 years, yes. But when there was issue raised by some group that if a lady is married and he has a child, she should be considered as matured or an adult. But some didn't say no. So we agree in our own case with only 18 years as a margin. If you are 18, then that is the... But there are issues combated by many Nigerians. Some will pick them, some will refuse to pick them, because when we do our discussion, we end up in the best choice.
Thank you very much. And you came up with 21 clauses. Senator Kabiru Gaya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm happy being with you.